Fine, thank you. Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to meet you today and able to present some introduction on our country and especially our city of Warsaw, where the Defense Credit Union Council meeting will be organized end of April in just 1 month. So I would like to share my screen with you and let's say show the presentation that I prepared. I hope it will be not too long and too boring. I promise to do my best to keep you let's say stick to the screen. At that time, if you don't mind, I will switch off my camera and I will switch it on again as soon as the presentation is finished. So I hope you can all see my screen now.
Yep, it's good.
All right. So once again, welcome everybody to Defense Credit Union Council Conference organized in Warsaw in Poland. First of all, let me just introduce several basic information on our country, which of course is located on the European continent. The history of our country spans over 1,000 years, and it officially starts in the year 966 with baptism of Poland. The introduction of Christianity is symbolically linked to the founding of the Polish state, and it is also the first firm date in the history of our nation. So over 1,000 years, the history of our nation took different phases and periods. The Great Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, a union of Poland and Lithuania, controlled much of Eastern and Central Europe from 16th to 18th century. What is interesting, Polish kings were chosen by the parliamentary free elections rather than by family dynasties. Polish-Lithuanian Constitution of May 3, 1791 was widely considered to be the first modern constitution in Europe and one of the world's greatest documents of freedom. Just to compare, American Constitution is 4 years older, comes from 1787. Finally, the collapse of the Polish-Lithuanian kingdom and partitions by Habsburg monarchy, which is present-day Austria, Kingdom of Prussia, present-day Germany, and Russian Empire, resulted in elimination of sovereign Poland and Lithuania for 123 years until 1918, the end of the First World War. Now, today, Poland is a free democratic republic with over 38 million of citizens, bordering with Germany, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Ukraine, Belarus, Lithuania, and the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad. Poland is a member of NATO since 1999 and the European Community since 2004. Now, on May 1st, 2024, it's going to be...
This meeting is being recorded.
It's going to be the 20th century, the anniversary, sorry, of our EU membership. Poland's capital city of Warsaw is centrally located. Its population is nearly 2 million, and Warsaw is a seat of the Polish parliament, Polish president, and the Polish government. It plays a key role in political and economic life of the nation. Now, let me just give you a few basic words of the 20th century Poland before the Second World War. Following the independence in 1918, the capital went through something of a renaissance. Even though politics could not be said to be stable anywhere in Europe in the 20s and the 30s, especially in Russia, especially in Germany, Polish society was not as divided as in some of the neighboring countries. Warsaw was again a European center for creative expression, a vibrant, modern city. As Warsaw began to prosper, people from all over Europe started settling in, and by 1939, it was already home to over 1.3 million people, making it the 7th biggest city in Europe. Although Warsaw was a very industrialized city, it was beautiful, diverse, and truly European, and it was often referred to as a Paris of the East, whatever it sounds. It is important to mention that before the war, the city, the Jewish population in Warsaw was almost 1/3 of its entire population. It was the successful community which was the largest in both Poland and Europe. Now, into the tragic events of the Second World War. The historic center of Warsaw during the 6 years of the Second World War was destroyed in almost 85% of its structure. Warsaw population shrunk from 1.3 million in September 1939 to only 160,000 in January 1945, when Soviet army entered the ruins of Warsaw. The two most important happenings during the Second World War: the Jewish ghetto uprising in 1943, which was a heroic act of resistance by Jewish fighters in the Warsaw ghetto against Nazi forces. And the uprising began on April 19, 1943, when the Nazis attempted to liquidate the ghetto, deporting the remaining inhabitants to concentration camps. Over 1 year later, Polish uprising 1944 was a significant moment for the Polish fight for independence and liberation from Nazi rule. The primary goals of the Polish uprising 1944 were to free Warsaw from German control, establish Polish authority before the advancing Soviet forces, and demonstrate the world, the Polish people's desire for freedom. These 2 months of fight were one of the most tragic events in the history. There were over 200,000 casualties who died and perished in the city. Just to compare, the D-Day victims, the most tragic days during the Second World War for the Allied Western forces, were over 120,000 victims. So this also shows the scale of the destruction and tragedy that took place here between these 2 months in 1944. So when the Soviet army liberated Poland, Warsaw in January 1945, the destruction was catastrophic, a significant portion of its building and infrastructure being razed to the ground. The suffering endured by inhabitants was immense, as many lost their homes, possessions, livelihoods amidst the ruins of the city. Then another important time in the history of Warsaw, the post-war reconstructions. We have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, that compared with Western Europe, when we were liberated by Soviet army, we instantly became a member of the Soviet bloc. So it was difficult to say about freedom that the Soviets brought to Poland. It was quite strange situation that Poland was taken from one regime to another. Nevertheless, after the war, a 5-year reconstruction campaign by its citizens resulted in today's detailed restoration, especially of the old town, with its churches, palaces, and marketplace. It is an outstanding example of a near total reconstruction of a span of history covering the 13th to the 20th century. The reconstruction of Warsaw was challenging and a lengthy process that spanned several decades, with the city gradually recovering and rebuilding from the ruins left by the war. The determination and resilience of Warsaw inhabitants, along with international support and solidarity, played a crucial role in the city recovery and transformation into the vibrant and thriving capital it is today. So, since the collapse of the communism in 1989, Polish capital economic development is the highest in its entire history, which is over 1,000 years. This picture shows the downtown of Warsaw, which is completely different compared with the pre-war pictures. And this is, by the way, the area your Warsaw Hotel is located. But because of the total destruction of the city during the World War, it was also a chance to build a modern city with skyscrapers, which is completely different to other cities in Poland, like Krakow, which was untouched during the Second World War, and it's historic. So over the last 20 years, Warsaw has experienced significant economic development and growth, driven by various factors that have contributed to the city transformation into a dynamic economic hub. Now, few words about most important tourist attractions, as I guess majority of you will be visiting the city for the first time. So, Warsaw Old Town, reconstruction after World War II. This is the most important place to visit on a map of each city visitors. Visiting this area, keep in mind everything you will see there is the reconstruction in the late 40s and the early 50s. It was reconstructed exactly how it looked before the World War, which also shows the will of the Polish people to rebuild its capital after a tragic event of the Second World War. Łazienki Royal Park and Palace Complex is the most popular site to visit during summer months by tourists and Warsaw citizens. It is interesting to know that between May to October, each Sunday, there are open-air Chopin piano recitals organized by the monument of this Poland's biggest and most famous romantic composers. So it brings people from all over the city to sit in the park and enjoy open-air live piano recital. It's really a fantastic afternoon in Warsaw if you are visiting in summertime. Other attractions is the Wilanów Palace, which is the summer residence of the King Jan III Sobieski. Sobieski's greatest success came in 1683 with his victory at the Battle of Vienna in joint command of Polish and German troops against the invading Ottomans under their Emperor Kara Mustafa. Finally, the former Warsaw Ghetto area, with the remaining original relics of the Second World War, the Great Poland Museum, presenting the entire history of the Polish Jews, dating from the 13th to the 20th century. And of course, other important places like Umschlagplatz, this was the place where Warsaw Jews were deported to death camps, monument of the ghetto heroes, Nożyk Synagogue, Jewish Historical Institute, fragments of the ghetto walls. Most famous Poles. Who are the most famous Poles? We start with the famous astronomer Nicolae Copernicus, who discovered it is the Earth circulating around the sun and not the vice versa. Then, of course, famous Polish composer and pianist Fryderyk Chopin, the Romantic epoch, born in Warsaw. Madame Curie Skłodowska. She was Polish, born in Poland, raised in Poland, married with a French guy, living in Paris. She was the first woman with a Nobel Prize, a dedicated physicist and chemist. John Paul II, and of course, one and only Mr. Lech Walesa, the leader of the Solidarity Trade Union from Gdansk shipyard, which led to the collapse of communism. Walesa is also a winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. There are also common heroes in the Polish-American history. There are two 17th century Polish heroes who fought for the US independence during the American Revolutionary War. Kazimierz Puławski, as we pronounce it, and Tadeusz Kościuszko. Tadeusz Kościuszko, the English pronunciation, these names have a lot of these Polish sounds. They were both generals of the Continental Army. Puławski died in 1779 in the Battle of Savannah. Now, a switch into Polish culture, and we start with Polish culinary classics. The pierogi dumplings, which is the most famous and I think well-known Polish comfort food. Everyone visiting Poland has to try. Polish kiełbasa sausage, the Polish vodka, especially the one named bison vodka, with bison grass in each of the bottle, giving a special flavor and taste to this particular vodka, and Polish beers, including the most famous Żywiec, English speakers pronounce Zuik. And what is important, cheers in Poland means na zdrowie. It's nice to practice this before you come. Whenever on your way to Poland, na zdrowie means cheers. Warsaw is also provides wide options of the local culinary attractions. Most of the top class restaurants are located in the downtown. Warsaw nightlife offers numerous areas with live music, food courts, bars, including the famous Koszyki Food Hall located in the city center. Safety in Warsaw. Poland and Warsaw are still considered one of the safest destinations in Europe. It is still absolutely safe to walk in the city center during the night hours. Gun crime in Poland practically doesn't exist. The biggest danger, and you should be aware while visiting the city, are pickpockets operating in the crowded tourist areas. This happens all over Europe. And of course, the scale of the pickpockets crimes compared with Paris, Rome, or Madrid is nothing. But at least you should be aware where your purse is, where your wallet is. Just the basic rules everybody should be aware of while visiting, especially the crowded areas. Traveling to Poland from United States. So unless you are flying direct from USA to Poland with LOT Polish Airlines, your European Union and Schengen border crossing procedures will take place at your first European stopover, which might be Amsterdam, Paris, Frankfurt, or Munich. This means that's gonna be the place where they will check your passports. And then from this first stopover, your next flight into Warsaw will be domestic-like. Once we are member of Schengen zone, which means on your arrival in Warsaw, nobody will ask you for your passport again. This, of course, doesn't apply if you fly directly from US to Poland, or if you fly with a stopover in London, which is not a member of European Union and never belonged to Schengen zone. I also want to give you some feedback regarding situation in Poland and in Warsaw since the beginning of war in Ukraine in February 2022. A total number of refugees who fled from Ukraine to Poland is now more than 10 million persons. Over 8 million already returned back to Ukraine or decided to travel onwards, mainly to Germany and other Western European countries. Today, a number of refugees living and working in Poland is over 1 million people. Warsaw has a Ukrainian refugee population of nearly 100,000 people. What is interesting is the social profile of the Ukrainian refugees. The great majority of them are women, children, and elders. Especially for Ukrainian mothers taking care of their children, it is not so easy to find their place on the local Polish labor market because you have small children to attend at home. Also, the Ukrainian elders require extra support from the Polish health system while they are a resident in our country. Integration with the Polish society is relatively easy due to the same culture and historic background. Both Polish and Ukrainian languages are Slavic, even though we use Latin alphabet in Poland and Ukrainian use Cyrillic. Majority of the refugees who decided to stay in Poland have already well integrated, taking local jobs. Most often Polish workers don't want to pick up because they are not so well paid, and they are paying local taxes. It is said that nearly 1% of Polish GDP is now delivered by Ukrainian refugees paying taxes in Poland. Of course, we open a school system for Ukrainian children, and of course, our national health system for those in need. So that was, let's say, roughly 20 minutes introduction showing the most important information on our country, the history of the 20th century, the reconstruction after war, and present day reality of what you might expect next month while traveling into Warsaw. I stopped sharing my screen right now and I switch my camera. So hopefully we will be able to see each other. Just a sec. Okay, here I am again. And thank you for your attention. And I'm happy to answer any question you might have regarding our destination.
What's the weather expected weather to be like, Christoph, for our week in Warsaw? Is it a rainy season? Is it kind of cool?
Tony, end of April, beginning of May, in general, is a springtime. For our country located in the Northern Europe, it might be quite, let's say, pretty tricky. On the average, you can expect temperatures during the night. I'm talking in Celsius. I'm not very familiar with Fahrenheit. About 10, during the day up to 20 Celsius. But don't be surprised if one day or night we have a snow shower, which most probably will melt after 1 hour. So on general, you know, it is late springtime and temperatures during the day should be nearly 20 Celsius. It's not that much.
It'll be about 68 Fahrenheit, and about 50 in the evenings. Layers are best.
Thanks, Rachel. Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that as well. Is there a lot of walking involved during our tours, and what kind of footwear would you recommend, Rachel?
Yeah, compared with Krakow, Warsaw is the place where you really get on the coach to see majority of the city attractions. So the distance, walking distance from your hotel to the old town will be like 25-30 minutes. This is why we will also use a coach to deliver you to the most interesting places in Warsaw, because the distances are too long to walk. And for city tours and for visits, for activities outside the hotel, sport shoes are recommended. They will simply make your visit much more comfortable.
Are pharmacies in Warsaw pretty readily? Are they marked with green crosses or
Of course,
red
of
cross?
course.
Yeah.
Of course, they are easy to see, and there are also pharmacists working 24/7. So even in emergencies during the night, it's comparatively easy to find an open one.
Hello, Bogdan Chmielewski here. I didn't have chance to introduce. I was late to the meeting, so nice to see everyone. My question is, I'm not very familiar with the agenda yet, but are you planning to visit any museums in Poland, in Warsaw?
Yes, during there are two activities, including two museums. One of the activities is an afternoon tour covering former Jewish ghetto, including Polish Museum, the history of the Polish Jews. Another tour is the visit of the Polish Vodka Museum with Polish vodka tasting. But of course, there are all spectrum of museums that will be open during your stay in Poland. And we didn't plan with Susan, visits to the National Museum for Polish art and paintings, etc., as we were not sure if that might be very interesting for those in great majority coming to Warsaw.
My suggestion would be, since majority of the visitors who are related to the military, to visit the Warsaw Uprising Museum. It's a very, very good museum, probably one of the best museum I ever saw in the world, okay? It just documented the entire uprising in a very modern way. So that's just my suggestions. If you still make any adjustments to your agenda, I would suggest to visit that, okay?
I fully agree with this.
Yeah, thanks, Bogdan. And we'll also have some time Monday. I think a lot of folks are arriving Sunday and trying to get some sleep and acclimate to the time change. But there'll be time on Monday for plenty of exploring on your own, not part of a guided tour, but to go to some of the museums as well. Because I know Christoph showed a couple that I was not familiar with. There and with the palaces and I think Chopin, just different areas I think that can be available for folks to go and tour kind of on their own on Monday, because we don't really get started until our reception Monday night.
And just for clarification, the Polish Vodka Museum, this is the one at Koneser, right?
Correct. On the Praga district.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Because I know that there is also another one smaller, but that's
No. We are talking about the big one, where of course at the end of the tour we will also have a tasting of different vodka brands.
Mr. Andrzej Szumowski involved in that? The president of the museum?
I don't think so. We just book just the regular tour with English-speaking guides.
All right.
Does anyone know what the time difference is offhand?
It's going to be 6 hours.
6 hours, thank you.
Yeah, it's 6 p.m. right now in Warsaw.
Between the Eastern time, I mean,
Yeah.
Eastern.
By the way, we changed our time. I think
this Sunday.
This Sunday, right? So we're gonna be on summertime, and next week it's gonna be 7 p.m. already. So when you come here next month, it's gonna be summertime, 1 hour later compared with today.
I had a question about the currency. You said you were part of the EU.
I'm sorry, I can hardly hear you. Can you please repeat?
Yeah, I was asking about the currency because you said you were part of the EU, but you used the zloty.
Correct. Even though we are a member of European Union, we still stick to local Polish currency, Polish zloty, which is approximately 4 zloty for $1, roughly, a little bit less, but you can calculate $1 for Polish zloty. And what is important, ladies and gentlemen, in Poland, you can pay almost everywhere with your plastic credit card. You don't really have to bring and exchange a lot of cash. So even on the local food markets, where local farmers are selling their fresh vegetables, you can also pay with plastic. So I don't recommend you exchange a lot of currency. And once you are here, use your credit cards. It's gonna be safer, easier.
If I may suggest something, I travel to Poland a lot, so you can pay either with the credit card, or if you need cash, just use ATM machines, belongs to any banks. And when you use the ATM machine, don't accept conversion, because then you get a much better exchange rate, okay? So when they sometimes even use the credit card, they ask you, do you want to pay in zloty or dollars? Always choose zloty, and this is the rule for the entire world. Always choose the local currency. Yeah, because the exchange rate, it's about, I would say, between 10 to 20% better than so. Always choose the transaction in zloty when you pay the credit card, and when you use the ATM, don't accept conversion. But all of the ATM machines in Poland, there are many of them. They accept all the debit cards with Visa or MasterCard logo. And like I said, and I don't recommend, I don't know if Mr. Schabowicz agree with me, I don't even recommend to go to the Kantor. That's the place where you can exchange dollar in zloty, because probably you even get a worse exchange rate. And you may be a subject of a dangerous situation, you know, because maybe people observing you leaving the country, stuff like that. So I never do that in Poland, and I travel a lot. Plastic, it's really good enough in Poland.
Absolutely, and as I said, it's commonly accepted, and you don't have to be afraid that this or that restaurant or bar may not accept. All bars and restaurants accept.
Christoph, can you tell us about tipping?
Yes, I mean, we are not such a big tipping culture here in Poland. Of course, if you go on your own to the restaurant or to the bar, on the average, a good tip is 10%. Nobody will be offended if you don't tip, especially if you are not happy. But it's a little bit different compared with US, where minimum 15 or 20% is requested, and sometimes you don't even have an option not to tip in case you are not happy with the service. Here, it's much easy. I mean, 10% is the average. Of course, if you are very happy and you are very well served, you may offer 15 or even 20%, but then a waiter will be very, very pleased and surprised. And of course, you don't tip bartenders, you rather tip waiters. Again, it's a general rule, up to you if you want to tip bartenders, up to you if you want to leave 10%, 15 or 20.
And Uber is available?
Uber is widely available. Majority of Uber drivers are refugees from Ukraine, so don't be surprised if they don't speak Polish. I mean, they don't speak English either. So that might be a little bit challenge for you, but yes, Uber operates all over the city, and it's safe. It's safe. When choosing Uber car, go for higher category, because the lowest category Uber cars are really low category, and sometimes it happens they don't even have air conditioning operating.
Since you mentioned credit cards, do we need to have our PINs used when we swipe with our credit cards there?
Yes, yeah, unless you are an Apple Pay user, and then you simply have to identify with your face. But generally, yes, if you are using the credit card in a classic way, swiping up through the machine, I think it starts over with the amount over 100 Polish zloty, which is approximately $25 when you will be requested to enter your PIN with the credit card terminal.
Panie Krzysztofie, I think I disagree with you because I use my credit card and they ask me sometimes for the PIN, but I never use the PIN. I don't even remember PIN to the credit card, and all of the transactions were accepted. So I think they have a ways to process the transaction without the PIN for the credit cards.
Most probably, I thought it depends on the amount of the transaction, but I might be wrong. But on general, it might happen that they will ask you for the PIN code.
They will ask, but if you say you don't have a PIN, so they can process the transaction differently. And like I said, I use American credit cards in Poland, and I don't even remember the PIN to my credit cards. So and all of the transactions went through.
Just one
If
important.
I may suggest only, you can talk to your bank and tell them, make the travel notification, because sometimes the fraud detection may block the transaction.
That's
So
true.
I don't know
That's
what bank you use, but that could be, prudent to do that, make the travel notification for Poland.
Other thing I think that is also worth mentioning, that in some places they will not accept American Express. So it is just better to have a backup with any other credit card, not only American Express, because it simply results from the percentage, the commission they have to pay, and not everybody accepts to sign a contract to accept American Express. But other cards are accepted.
Christoph, I have another question in the chat. It says, are tips made in cash or can they be included with the bill on the card?
They can be included with the bill on the card. So on the card. So it's not that only cash tips are accepted. You simply ask if you are there on your own, okay, please, can you make, instead of 100 Polish zloty, 110, I would like to pay with a card. That's it.
And then one other question, sorry, I missed it. It says, can we visit the Chopin Museum? How far is that from our hotel? Do you happen to know?
It is in the area of the Old Town. So I recommend you pick up an Uber or a taxi to get there, which shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes to get from the West End to the Chopin Museum. Walking distance will be over half an hour.
Yeah, and walking distance to Old Town, when I was there, I went through that park. That was very beautiful. That had the tomb of the unnamed soldier.
Yes, the Saxon Garden.
It was a very nice walk going through this
Yes.
beautiful garden.
Yes, you see on the as part of the Old Town, and that's the place where the monument of the unknown soldier is located.
The other thing I'd recommend to the group, just think about it now, is work with your cell phone or network provider for a Poland pass. So while you're there, I think I pay an extra $10 every European country I've been in. It's better to do it early rather than later, so that you can still get calls from home, and still get internet data if you need it on your cell phone. And just, I think if you've been to Europe before, you learn that. But for a lot of folks that haven't been overseas, just contact your network provider to get the out of country, along with, I think, Christoph, you mentioned it, working with your credit union to let them know you're going to be out of country. So a lot of those, your payments will go through for meals or whatever else that you're doing as well. And then the last bit of advice, and it differs, try to stay awake as long as you can when you arrive. It helps. You're going to be really tired. I'm not going to lie, but at least it gets your body clock on a faster adjustment for later on. So there'll be time to do that if you're arriving on Sunday. Work with Suzanne on your room reservations, because one thing we always recommend is try to check into your room the night before you arrive, so that your room's ready when you arrive and you're not sitting in the lobby trying to stay awake. Just a few tricks, but yeah, check with Suzanne, make sure the hotel still has availability to do that on, I guess it would be Saturday night, right, Suzanne?
Yeah, there is still some availability, and we do have some nights on Saturday night if you're arriving early in the morning on Sunday.
By the way, do we also have some visitors coming to Warsaw from West Coast, from California, Oregon? For them, that's gonna be challenging because I think it's 9 hours.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm traveling for US to IMAX America in Las Vegas, the first couple of days are really challenging with 9 hours time difference. If you're coming from East Coast, it's not so painful.
We have one coming from Hawaii, or two coming from Hawaii. It's a
Ooh.
12-hour difference, so that's going to be. We'll
Yeah.
Ron, we'll take good care of you. For sure.
Your room's ready.
That's gonna be challenged, right?
Rachel, I saw.
Yeah, not a question, just another recommendation
Oh,
for
okay.
you have coverage with your phone.
That's good advice. Thanks, Rachel.
Hi there, this is Stacy Ensweiler. I have a question. I believe there's a holiday happening the weekend we arrive. Is there information we should know about that? Are certain things closed or not available?
Yes, during the time you are here in Warsaw, there are 2 days that are national holidays. May 1st, the Labor Day, and May 3, the day of our first constitution, 1791. So in general, you might be surprised that Warsaw seems a little bit deserted. It's because it's a long bridge weekend, and great majority of the Warsaw people will take the opportunity to go out to the countryside for the entire week. The city infrastructure is open except the national days, the national holidays of May 1 and 3, when majority of the shops will be closed, and only small private convenience stores might be open. So it's also worth to be aware of. Restaurants, tourist attractions, bars are open both May 1 and May 3.
Thank you.
Yeah, May 3rd is going to be special. I believe that's Poland's Constitution Day.
Absolutely, yes, Tony. And this is the day where lots of celebrations will take place around the town, including a speech given by the president in the Royal Castle Square Market every year. On that day, there is a small military parade, and it's a big holiday here, the day of our first constitution.
Christoph, is a military parade in front of the castle and the
Yes, usually, Tony, I have to check what are the plans for May 3. If nothing happens, it's gonna be it will be comparatively small parade compared with August 15, which is the day of the holiday of the Polish army, and there is also a huge parade along the Vistula River coastline in Warsaw. The parade of May 3 is relatively small, and it rather shows only soldiers marching rather than different type of military equipment, rolling through the old town. No, it's not that kind of experience.
That's good to know. Thanks, Christoph. Okay, any last minute questions or concerns for Rachel or for Christoph here before we close here? If not, if you think of something later on, please send either myself or Suzanne a question. We want you to be comfortable coming over to Poland. It's going to be a great trip. Lots of great venues were selected, and some of those are on the website that Suzanne posted in the chat. I'm looking forward to it. I spent some time yesterday with Bogdan and his team, and I know we are looking forward to it. And a month is going to go by really, really quick before we're getting on that plane. But again, I've said this to many of you before. Poland's a very pro-American city or country, And I think you'll see that when you get there. And that is, it's just very remarkable. So I'm looking forward to again to the trip, the culture, the cuisine, and of course the fine vodka that I tasted myself, but looking forward to partaking again, especially when we go to the vodka museum. That'll be wonderful. So any last minute questions, anyone? Please don't be shy. If not, Suzanne, I'll let you have a few more comments, and then we'll go to Christoph and Rachel for some closing comments as well. Any questions?
The only thing I want to remind everybody, if you haven't secured your tour for Wednesday, it's on Wednesday, we have the vodka tour is currently closed, but there's still the beer tasting walking tour and the Poland Museum. And then on Monday, we have the pierogi class, and we're repeating that on Tuesday. And it's on Tuesday right after our sessions, so everybody is able to sign up for that. So I just want to reiterate that you have an opportunity to go with your guest/spouse either on Monday or Tuesday, and there's still time to sign up for that. But please get those numbers in so I have to send those to Christoph by April 8th. So I just want to make sure everybody gets the tour that they want to do. And of course, sleeping rooms, make sure you have those. I've been tracking. I think it's pretty even. Everybody is secured. But to Tony's point, if you are arriving really early, he taught me the trick to book for the day before. So if you arrive at 8 a.m., you have a place to stay. You don't have to hang out in the lobby bar. And the bar's not open at that early. So good luck. But it is a great trick to do, just so you're already in, you're ready to go. And again, as Tony said, try to stay up late. Don't go to take a nap. But if you have any questions regarding the conference, just let me know. I'm available. And we'll try to get everything taken care of. Oh, and I will say the hotel or the airport is very easy. It's pretty easy to get through when I went through it. So it's kind of self-explanatory. You won't get lost.
Especially in the weekend, it shouldn't take you more than 15-20 minutes to drive by taxi from the airport, from the Chopin airport to your hotel downtown.
There's a question in the chat about attire for the reception and other events. I think the only one that's very formal is the Thursday night gala dinner, where it's coat and tie for gentlemen, and then appropriate dress.
Cocktail attire.
There you go. Yeah, for the ladies at the conference as well. During the actual sessions, it'll be a coat and a button collared shirt. No need to wear a tie during those events. I'll be in a tie. Don't take that as me doing that. That's just what I do. So, and then we kind of get in comfortable clothes for the afternoon tours. But bring a jacket if it's a little cool. It gets cooler in the evening. But the only really formal one is the gala dinner on Thursday. Oh, I will say for our special event on Thursday afternoon, I would highly recommend a coat and tie for that also. And that's our visit to the presidential palace. And I will say we should probably dress appropriately for that. We'll make an announcement, but we're meeting somebody very, very important that day. And so I'd highly encourage everyone to wear a coat and tie or an appropriate attire for that event. Call me if you have any questions. And you said what's the ladies' attire for the palace? Suzanne, I believe that's a presidential palace. I would say business attire.
Business attire, yeah. That's all I have. Christoph, Rachel, any final comments?
Well, again, I would like to thank you very much for choosing Poland and Warsaw for your destination, for your conference. I'm really thrilled to working with Suzanne on preparations for your visit next month. Fingers crossed for the weather. Don't forget your umbrellas. Be prepared for all kinds of weather, but hopefully it's going to be a sunny and warm week, and we will enjoy not only culture and architecture, but also weather while you are here in our town. And
I
my
couldn't have
look-
said it better myself. Your hosts have designed a really wonderfully immersive program, and you're going to have a fabulous time. So safe travels, and thank you again for the opportunity.